Hi, everyone. I'm AJ Willoughby. Glad to have you again on another Monday night product call. And tonight, we are talking about Reveal because we've got so many things that's been happening ever since Reveal actually came out. It was 8-in-1, and now it's Reveal because it was in the M Labs. And now we get a chance to find out exactly, what's been happening, what's new with it, some of the testimonies, what's going on. And the best way to do that is to go straight to the formulator of Reveal, and that is Deidre Howard. Deidre, thank you for being on the call tonight.
You're welcome. It is always so much fun to join you, AJ, and you're such a good sport because I bring friends with me, and we're a little cray-cray, but...
That's the thing. I never know what to expect whenever we have you on the call. It can go really crazy sometimes, but I think it's going to go well.
I think it's going to go well too. So we want to cover the basics, and then we want to end with a wow. We want to go over. So it used to be called 8-in-1. Now it's called Reveal. So what are the 8 products that it replaces? Because there's 2 different ways. There's 8 features, right? But this actually replaces 8 products. 1 step, 12 ingredients. So that's kind of a lot. It's a mouthful. And that's what our biggest challenge is. How do you get through all of it? So we're going to talk really fast because girls can do that. So what are the 8 things that it does? It cleanses, it tones, and it exfoliates. Just those 3. If you do just those 3 every single day, your skin's going to change. And a lot of people don't. But we don't stop there. It also brightens. It is a pore minimizer, anti-ager. I'm forgetting one. I should have brought my list. Shannon. I have it. I said toner. Do you know why I can't memorize these and it's my own product that I worked on for 4 years? Is because you will find out by the end of this that there's so many things that it does that it gets stupid. Like after a while, makeup remover, right? Makeup primer, geez. You can use it as a makeup remover, but it's not on here. And one of the big ones is hydrator. And there's a huge difference between hydrator and moisturizer. But I'm not going to go into that right now because somebody else over there is going to make a point of this. Now, each one of these women are my friends that I met. I've known Leslie the longest. But Shannon and Rachel, I've not known them for all that long. I met them because of Reveal. So this has been really fun. And each one of them have had different skin challenges. And one thing that's really important to know about Reveal is it's self-regulating. So it's not going to work the same for everybody. It's not going to act the same. You're going to get the same effects, but it's not going to act the same sometimes. And then crazy things can happen to you, like which you're going to hear some crazy stuff. That's pretty awesome. One thing that's not on the back of the tube, because you can look on the back of the tube, it has all 8 things there. Yes, I could have just read them if I was smart, but is it does not have skin detoxifier. It doesn't have poultice because it also draws toxins out of your skin. It doesn't have anti-inflammatory on there. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have helps with acne. It doesn't have that. So we're going to talk about all the different things it does, but we're first going to demo it. Girls, get out your tubes. Because even this experience of using it, Shannon has makeup on. Leslie, are you naked face? Oh, see, she's just naturally beautiful. Rachel, naked face. I'm naked face too. But we wanted to have one person, Shannon, with makeup on because you can use it as a makeup remover. What I'll tell you though is you'll have to use more product. And this tube has 60 facials in it. That does not always include the makeup remover part of it because we don't know how much foundation, girl, you have on, and we don't know how much you're going to need to use, but there's 60 facials in there morning and night. Use it day and night, just like you normally would do with skincare. It's just all in one step. So girls, let me see how much you use. Everybody put on the amount that you use on your...
Okay, now, just so you know, Deidre, only those that are on live can see all the other girls without them talking. Everyone's listening to the recording can only see one person at a time.
Oh, well, then we gotta unmute them.
So, and you all will have to say something so that your screen comes up.
Okay. All right, fine. This is how much I use. And I got makeup on, so I'm using more.
And Leslie, what do you?
And I have no makeup on, and I don't use much at all.
Are you guys all finding that right now it's just kind of melting on your finger, like it wants to melt? Okay.
It's like sliding around.
It's sliding down, right? So you're not, normally you don't sit there and hold it and show people, right? The reason that's happening is because it's coconut oil based, okay? So now let's apply it, girls, because we don't all apply it the same, do we? So I just want you guys to, we'll start with Rachel. Rachel, you explain how you apply it, and then we'll go Shannon, and then Leslie.
Okay. I have to apply it a little bit more carefully than most because with my skin, I tend to roly-poly really, really fast. And I don't want it to do that because I want the reveal to be able to soak in a little bit to be able to do what it's meant to do. So to keep it from roly-polying really fast, I have to actually like swipe on really quick and kind of just, that's it. And in fact, I actually already started to feel roly-poly start to form. So I've got to do it real quick.
And even dabbing definitely works, you guys. So you don't have to rub. This isn't something that you need to rub in if you don't need to. If you start putting it on your face and you notice they're little white, she's calling them roly-polies, which is fine because we're all moms. We use itsy bitsies and roly-polies. But if you see that on your fingers, that's okay. That's actually the encapsulated ingredients that you're seeing, but I don't see them. When I put them on, I don't see them because the pH of my skin is a little bit different than Rachel's, but it's all working fine. I just remember that you and I, the first time you used it, you're like, Deidre, what's going on? And we kind of walked through it together, right? So her skin's a little bit different. And so she has to kind of just get it on there and let it just sit and not do a whole bunch of moving around because her skin's super excited to start exfoliating. Okay, Shannon, how do you use yours?
I just kind of set it on and rub it a little bit like that. And I like to put my eyelids and my lips when I'm wearing makeup.
Awesome. Leslie? Oh, you're muted, girlfriend.
Okay. We're going to play unmute tag. Anyway, what I do is I warm it up in my fingers before I put it on my face because my face gets so hot because I have lupus. It doesn't really, I don't know, for me, it works better if I do it all at the same time. Otherwise, it feels like I keep rubbing and rubbing one place. So I warm it up in my hand and then just put it across and then rub it in from there just with both of my hands. And then I wait because it feels so good.
Awesome, Leslie. Okay, so let's go back to Rachel really quick. Rachel, what would happen if you warmed it up in your hands?
I honestly haven't. Oh, if I warmed it up in my hands first, I would have a ton of roly-polies.
Exactly, right? So same product, two different people. And this is what is so cool about the reveal and why it's important for us to have this discussion is that it is self-regulating. She has drier skin, has other things going on with her pH that it's like the reveal wants to do something much faster than for Leslie, than what Leslie's skin needs. And so it might act a little bit different, but it's all working just the same. Okay, so what I do is, it's been on my hands, so it's super warm, but I don't usually, I usually don't warm it up in my hands. I do the same thing Shannon does. I put it on my face and make sure I like to do here, but it does use some extra product. So if I want to make sure I get my 60 facial, sometimes I just go here, right? Because sometimes we get a little excited. And that's another thing is when you first start using it, you might use a little more than normal because your skin's balancing out and it's doing its detoxing. But as you use it on a consistent basis, you're going to be able to know exactly how much to put on your face each time. And it's kind of cool. Okay, so I know some of you guys are ready to exfoliate, yeah? I know. So go ahead, I'm not, I have to wait for a little bit longer. because I just put it on.
Deidre, while we're waiting, while they're exfoliating, rubbing their face and get all this, let me talk for a second. Now, what I do, because I'm not dealing with makeup, I'm not worried about all that, but I'll put, because my head will get dry, especially in wintertime and everything, and it, you know, dries out, especially when I've been in the sun. I went on a cruise, got sunburned, put it on, didn't have any of the issues. I never had my skin peel, even after sunburning, which I always have. It never peeled. I don't have the dry skin anymore on my head or any of that. It doesn't, it stays nice and supple, I guess is the word to use.
Supple.
There we are. So it, all that, but thing is also we have a lot of people that are taking it and a lot of guys that are using it for skin conditions, not just as a beautifying aspect,
right,
but skin conditions. So let's make sure we talk about some of that also.
We will, I promise you. Okay, so ladies, who got a lot of exfoliation, who got a little? Tell me what your experience was, because sometimes it differs from each time you use it. Wouldn't you say that is a little bit different sometimes? So who wants to share?
I typically get a lot, even after being very careful with how I apply it. Like y'all have seen how long I've been rubbing, and I'm still getting a whole lot.
And she didn't use any more product than I did.
Right.
We use the same amount of product, right? But she does. She's got, like, I don't know why she's so talented in this area, but her skin is like, get off of my face. I don't want you on there, right? This exfoliation, because what's happening is it's grabbing a hold of your dead skin, oil, whatever you have on there, and it's grabbing a hold of it and rolling it into these roly-polies. Right. That's coming off your face.
And I also want to point out, because people can see it right now, you notice how much redder my face seems to be getting since I've been exfoliating. I am very pale, and so that doesn't help. But I remember, Deidre, and you explained to me once that's totally normal, because the rubbing on my face, I'm pulling that blood to the surface, and that's just a natural experience. But I want to point that out because I've had a lot of people come back and say, oh my gosh, it's making my skin red. I'm like, just wait a minute, it'll calm down. That's totally normal. You're rubbing blood to the surface. But you can see I'm very red right now, and that's just from the rubbing.
So what happens is as you give yourself a facial massage, which is what you're doing, and you don't need to be aggressive, you guys. Like, you don't need to do a lot of this. It's more of a massage. Think of it that way, okay? Because we don't need friction. But what happens is it brings blood to the surface, which is fantastic. It's the whole plan. Because in the Reveal, we have every essential and non-essential amino acid you need to build skin. And we want the blood to go and get its food. You want to feed your face. And so the actual process of that massage is medicinal. It's not for nothing. Some people don't see it because they're not as transparent. I'm a pasty girl too. So I will, like, if I scratch my chest, somebody thinks my husband hit me. It's bad, right? So it's, you know, that's normal, but it'll go away because they're going to go to work and they're not going to stay on the surface of your skin and be red. They got work to do. That's the other thing that happens is the product stimulates your skin to make collagen and elastin, which we want to happen. Okay, so Shannon, talk to us a little bit for a second. Did you get lots of rollies or what happened?
I got tons of roly-polies. I wish it was easier to pull my camera down and show you what's on the floor in my bathroom right now. It's really quite gross.
That's one thing that's good to do is to kind of right? Yeah.
But and I still have a little bit of roly-polies on my face, and that's why I usually take a washcloth and rinse it off as well. So I'm gonna go. Do you want me to go ahead and do the washcloth now? So yeah. I have a bowl of warm water here, so you don't have to listen to the faucet running. And I just take a washcloth and finish off by rubbing it off. And then I'll pat dry with a towel. So
now there's some people that are watching her wash it off and they're saying, don't stop. Keep it on there because it feels so good. You don't have to rinse your face. And for those people that works for, they love the way their face feels, so they don't want to wash it off. But for my advice, and Shannon will speak to this in a minute, but my advice is in the very beginning that you start using it just as directed. Directed says rinse and pat dry, okay? You're going to hear all these special cool things that people do with the product, but start with the basics because your skin, because it'll do miracles just as directed. And it's not always best to do any of those special tricks until after you've used it for a little while as directed. In fact, I'm going to just segue just a titch. Sorry, Leslie. And Shannon, will you share your experience? Because we've been working together pretty closely. So tell them what your skin issue was and then what I finally talked you into doing.
Yeah, so working with you, I've been using Reveal for about 2 months, or had been using it for about 2 months, and I was getting really frustrated because I kept having extra breakouts and, just another one here and another one there. And I was thinking at the beginning, okay, this is just part of the detox and it's, my skin is getting rid of everything that it needs to. And that, as true as that is, there was more to it. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have sensitive skin. I love the way my skin feels when I leave it on. It's awesome. I want to make sure it's getting all of the extra nutrients. So I was leaving it on. So for 2 months that was going on. And then I messaged Deidre, and before she even responded, I had realized I haven't even tried rinsing it off yet. So I went, and the next day I used it as directed on the back of the tube because the tube says to rinse it off. And within 2 days, that's it, my skin started to feel a billion times better. Like there were no new breakouts coming in, and then the ones that were coming up that were painful, the pain was going away and they were just kind of dissipating on their own. And now I rinse it, and all of the spots that I had that were really bad are starting to heal now. And so I just have a couple red spots and the rest is like magic.
So in the beginning, you guys rinse, especially if we're talking about acne. Okay, you guys, it's really important that you wash it off, especially if we're talking about acne. And then once it gets all balanced out, then you can start playing with some of the other ways to use it because it's going to detox your skin. And when you've had acne for how many years, Shannon?
Oh, forever, since puberty.
So if that's something you've had, then there's plenty of detox that needs to happen, you guys. And the way that it's formulated is if you will rinse it, it will slow that detox process down so that you still look beautiful as you're detoxing. But if you don't have those issues, then yeah, from the very beginning, you can leave it on without rinsing. But please, for the first little while, do rinse because we want to get all of that out there. And we don't want you to detox too quickly. But Leslie detoxed something really special. And let's have her finish up. How did you do? Did you get a lot of roly-polies?
In fact, I get a lot, but not from all over my face. I get a lot from my forehead and I get a lot from my jawline. My cheeks, which is where I have that butterfly rash from the lupus, it tends to melt it very quickly and suck it like a sponge.
Suck it up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't want to let go of it.
Oh, absolutely not. It wants to save it. So what I do is I put it all over everywhere. As you guys saw, I put it even, on my cheeks, on my cheekbones. But when I exfoliate the top, and then I use I don't know, maybe this is kind of gross, but I use the roly-polies from my forehead to roly-poly down here on my cheeks. And then I use the roly-polies from my chin to get my other chins.
Girl, I know.
I have a solution how to hide your extra chins.
Grow a beard. No, that does not work for us.
I don't think my husband would like that.
Leslie, I'm so glad that you brought that up because some people, when it starts to roll up, because it's not all your skin. Clearly, you can't just say skin fall off. Some of it is the product, right? So some people, when it starts to roly-poly up, when you get those little things, they want to get rid of them really quickly. You don't need to. It's liquid Velcro. That's what it's called. And so those same roly-polies, keep moving them around your face, because they're going to grab more and more and more until they're completely saturated with dead skin and all kinds of who know whats, and then it will naturally fall off. But don't be so quick to slough those off, because it's kind of like a magic eraser. You know how a magic eraser can take magic marker off of a wall, or a permanent marker off the wall, because it's so fine? This is what's happening with your skin. This is so gentle of an exfoliation. You can use it twice a day. And those are little baby magic erasers, and you don't want to get rid of them too quickly. So I thank you for bringing that up, because it will draw things out of your skin. It is detoxing, and Leslie has proof. Shannon told you about her detox, but Leslie has proof that it is pulling and drawing things out of your skin. Do you want to tell us that story real quick, if you don't mind?
I can. And it's really gross. I think
it's super cool.
Hey, I'm into gross. I don't know. It's like gross. I don't know.
That's the scientist in you, Deidre. I know. But I was in a car accident in 2006. And when my face hit the windshield twice, first was straight on and the second time was to the side. When it did that, there was a ton of glass that was inside my face and my skin. I've told absolutely everyone that would stand still long enough and like, look, my scars, they're like disappearing. I mean, now you can see it when I look up, because they're here and they come across. But they used to be so deep, and I would wear my hair to the side because I wanted to hide my face. I'm not so much anymore, because you don't see as much of my scarring. But one afternoon I had I thought was a pimple, and I'm like, sorry, Shannon, but I was like, what am I, 15? I'm just breaking out for no reason. Well, I kept, and I'm a picker. I can't stand having anything. I just want to rip it out. But this one just hurt. And I hadn't had a pimple hurt in a long time. So I kept messing with it. And next thing you know, this thing comes out. It's really hard. And I'm like looking at it, and I realized it's glass. I have pulled glass out of my face, over the course of the last 12 years. Probably not so much in the last probably 6 months or a year, maybe once, twice. But since I've used the Reveal, it's like, oh, wow, because I could usually feel where they were before, and I'd pick and pick and pick and pick until I dug deep enough to get it out. I know I told you guys this was going to be gross, but I did. And I pulled it out, and this one just came naturally to the top of my skin where I thought it was a pimple. And when I kept messing with it, it was only a matter of, it may have been 24 hours where I first noticed it. And then I was like, this is glass. This isn't a pimple. It was like, oh my goodness. And within, after pulling it out, it was only like the very next day, all you saw was this little pink spot of like fresh skin. It was just unbelievable that it was still there. I've never had felt it before, where I'd felt other small pieces, but it was like, oh my gosh, 12 years.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you will bring things to the surface. Don't let that scare you. Not everybody's walking around with glass in their face, right? But if you're like, oh my goodness, I've had such terrible acne, I'm afraid that this is going to bring everything to the surface at once. You don't have to be afraid of that as long as you're rinsing. If you want to speed up your detox and you're doing it on purpose, then go ahead and leave it on. And so for me, I left mine on, right? I did not get hardly any roly-polies at all. I know the reason why, because I've been outside raking leaves, and my skin, it doesn't, it's like, sorry, but we need that. So I didn't hardly get any at all. And the ones I got were really little teeny guys, and the rest of it stayed on my face. So probably tonight I'll use it as a hydration mask, which means I just put it on all over my face and I leave it be, and then I sleep all night with it on my face, because I've been abusing my face the last little while, because I'm trying to put my house, I've got acreage and it's almost time for the snow to fall. Okay, so let's move on really quickly, because we're going to run out of time, AJ, but I want to talk about all the other things that the Reveal does, because it was created originally because my daughters had acne. We talked about acne today, but it doesn't matter whether it's an adult or a youth, or I've got an 11-year-old young man that is using it for the first time, and he's so grateful that he can get rid of that. I mean, just think, he could have 10 years ahead of him with acne, and how different is his experience going to be as a teenager? I'm excited about that. And it's only one step, and boys will do one step, right? But I want to talk about all the things that it does. We talked about acne and all these, but I do want to say something that it doesn't do before we list off the things it does, and then we'll wrap up with that. So I'm going to take it back over to Rachel. And on the list of 8 things, and it does more things than that, like we're going to talk about, but one thing that I do not claim that it does, though people will swear that it does, is it is not a moisturizer. Now, there's a lot of people that don't need to use moisturizer after they start the product. They're like, I don't need it anymore. But that, that's great, but some people do. And so, Rachel, can you speak to that for just a quick minute?
Yeah, so, and I'm actually a mix of both people who do and don't need a moisturizer, because when I first started using the Reveal, I noticed I didn't need a moisturizer. My skin felt just moisturized and soft and everything just fine without it. But as the weather started to change, we started to get cold, I noticed it was feeling really dry, really rough, and just not comfortable at all. And so now with the change of seasons, I've noticed I do need a moisturizer. And so I actually use, and that's another cool thing I have learned, is I don't have to use as much as moisturizer as I use like before I use the Reveal, but I do end up needing just a little bit of moisturizer to make it that soft, moisturized feeling as it should.
So moisturizer is kind of like clothing, right? Like it changes throughout your life. Like I do not wear the same clothes I wore when I was 16 years old. That would be inappropriate. And during the winter, it's different than during the summertime. And so I really want people to feel absolutely comfortable with using a moisturizer. It's been formulated to use with a moisturizer. It's just that there's so many people that say, I don't need a moisturizer, that we don't sell it in a pack, because that would be unfair. You'd have to buy a moisturizer that you don't need. But it will work perfectly with whatever moisturizer that you do have. And so don't be afraid to do that. The difference between a hydrator and a moisturizer, this is a hydrator. So what it does is it draws water to your skin, so it plumps your skin, it helps with fine lines and wrinkles, and that's why it feels so supple, Andy. I mean, AJ, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. That's why it feels so supple, AJ, is because of that water being drawn to your skin. But that doesn't mean that moisturizer isn't fantastic. So don't ever feel like, oh, this isn't working for me anymore because it doesn't feel as moist as it used to. No, it's just the time of year. That moisturizer is there to help you, and it's going to mix with what's on the surface of your skin left over from the Reveal, and it makes that moisturizer even more powerful. So they mix really well. So please feel comfortable to do that. Okay, so we'll wrap up, since I have completely, Andy, I just took over. You know what happens. I want Shannon to just share all the different ways that she has used the product in her family. She has I was going to say the Addams family. That's not nice. That's not what I meant. She has such an array of different skin challenges uniqueness is that she learned a lot in a very short period of time. So do you mind sharing with everybody? And by the way, all of these ways of using this product, you use it a little bit different with each situation. And all of those application directions are on the Reveal Facebook page. It's a public page, anybody can get to it. You don't have to be accepted. So she's going to tell you this stuff. You might go, oh my gosh, I want to use it on my scalp. Well, you can go there and find out how. So we won't go over how because we don't have enough time. But let's talk about what you learned, Shannon.
Okay, oh my gosh, there are so many different ways that I was able to use it. My dad was the first one to try it, and he has a dry spot, problem spot on his hand where he's got some sores. It's constantly dry and kind of swollen and hurts all the time. And he put it on, and 3 days later, his hands were still soft. And like one time, he only used it one time, and 3 days later, his hands were still soft and they weren't hurting anymore because the anti-inflammatory properties that the Reveal has in it really did work wonders on his hands, as well as my mom. My mom has super dry hands, and she's got a cancer spot that was treated that just is constantly dry. And she washes dishes constantly. There's 8 kids in my family. 4 of them are still home. 2 grandbabies are there, and whatever. So she's got her hands in soapy dishwater all the time. And she used it the same day my dad did, and her hands were still soft 3 days later. Another one I used I have a cracks in my heels, and I used it on my heel, and it took 3 minutes for me to notice a difference, and it was awesome. Like the dryness was gone, and the crack was already kind of healing and coming back together. Just super bizarre. And then another one, my brother's girlfriend actually has severe eczema, like really, really, really bad. And she used it on her arm. She used it a couple different times. One she used as directed, and then she did an intensive care treatment. And there's instructions on how to do the intensive care treatment on the public page as well. But she did that, and she told me that normally to get the same results, well, actually, she said to get half as good of results, she has to take a shower and immediately put on like 5 to 10 different products on her skin in order to get even half as good of results. So she was super stoked about that. I also did my sister's scalp. She has psoriasis on her scalp, and I did a scalp treatment for her. She's really hard because she's got hair down past her bum. So that was an adventure. And I absolutely learned some new better ways of doing it that might help it last longer. But she, after doing the scalp treatment, she said that she woke up for the first time in 12 years without feeling like she had to itch her scalp, which was huge for her because it's been a problem for a long time. And then more recently, actually last night, I used it on my daughter's toe. She had a little splinter in like the little crack in her toe, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't get it out with tweezers. Like it was itty bitty. So I'm just, whatever, stick some Reveal on it and go to bed, stop crying, whatever. It didn't take her long to go to sleep, but she woke up this morning and didn't say a word, and I asked her probably 4 hours later, so how's your splinter? And she goes, I totally forgot about it. And she pulls up her toe and looks at it. It's gone. So she was super excited about that, and she's been talking to people all day. I love Reveal. I love 8-in-1. I love M Global. You can attest to that too. So that bug bites. I've got the blood type that bugs. Tattoos, yes. I have one tattoo. I got it relatively recently, but I was getting ready to get it retouched, and so before it got retouched, I was able to use it as doing the brightening treatment. And the first time I used it, I noticed a little bit of a difference, but it was a pretty brand new tattoo, so I didn't notice as big a difference as I thought. And then I saw like, oh, you're supposed to use it 3 times. So I did. I used it 3 days in a row. And on the 3rd day, it looked like I just walked out of the tattoo parlor, but without all of like the swollen redness and bleeding and all that lovely stuff that goes along with brand new tattoos. But it looked brand new, and it was awesome. And then when I did get it touched up, I was able to use the Reveal as an aftercare treatment. And when I first got it, it took probably 10 days to heal. But then when I got it retouched and used the Reveal as the aftercare, it took 4 days from when I got up out of the chair till it was completely healed. There was no more peeling, no more scabbing, nothing. It was just healthy skin. So that acne, I've used it on spot treatments. I think that's everything.
And I think Rachel is going to share one way that she uses it. Shannon, I know. Do you see why I have Shannon on? Like, she's a show. The whole show could just be all of these things. But Rachel wanted to share one because she has been having challenges with her nails for a long time. So kind of share real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, I like using Reveal on my hands. As everyone who came over from Jamboree knows, there's this thing called the invisible cuticle right on your nail, and it's basically just a layer of skin on your nail above your cuticle that's really hard to get off. But if you want to do your nails with the nail wraps or even the lacquer's gels, it's really good to get that off, and your manicure will last longer. But even with our cuticle remover, I always still had a really hard time getting them off. They're that stubborn. The skin, I don't know if you can see, around this area, around my nails, it will crack and bleed and get really bad. And so I like to use the Reveal on my hands. And keep in mind, I have the issue of roly-polying really fast. So when I do my hands, I get probably, I can even, do you mind if I just show?
Real quick. We gotta go fast.
Okay, I'll go. So I probably use about yay much, and I just rub it on my fingers like lotion, and then I've got to let it sit there for a few minutes, and then I'll exfoliate like I do my face, and it will help get rid of all that dead skin and that invisible cuticle and soften my cuticles so I can do my nails and have a nice long-lasting mani, and my hands then just feel super soft and amazing afterwards. And on that note, my son, also another great way I like to use it is he tends to get the skin breaks down really bad right here behind his ear. He's only 5 years old. And so dealing with that is a struggle because he's only 5. He hates me having to deal with it and what I have to do to take care of it. So I just dab on a little bit of this, gently rub, and it gets away all that dead skin and hydrates it, and he doesn't cry about it anymore.
So basically, if you give your skin what it needs, it can take care of itself. And that's what the Reveal does. That's why it does all these different things, is because it has all the nutrients in it. You're giving your skin what it needs to go do its work. And it's as simple as that. And there's tons more, but we're out of time. And AJ, you've been super, 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 super patient with us. So thank you.
And it's got mangosteen in it. That's something that,
We didn't even talk ingredients. We don't have even time to talk about the mangosteen.
I know. Mangosteen is like one of the hugest things, and it's got mangosteen in it. That is huge, which is why we're seeing so many, well, it's everything, but that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many of all these different things that people are talking about. It's incredible. My wife is talking, Jill, she's, talking about how her nails for the first time are growing and strong and all this. I'll use it now. Thing is, I don't like the roly-poly, so first thing in the morning, put it on, and then I immediately get in the shower, and that's where that way I don't have to deal with roly-polies. But thank you so much, Deidre, and Shannon, Rachel, Leslie. You guys have been amazing. This has been a great call. And anything else, Deidre, as we say goodbye here?
Just enjoy it, play with it. If you have questions, you can PM me. Everybody's a little bit different, and just have fun with it, you guys. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing everybody at convention here later this week. It's going to be a great time. I hope to see you there. And if we don't, we'll see you back here on Monday nights. Every Monday night as we cover different products that we have and what's going on with them, why they work, the different testimonies that's happening there. Be sure to go on empowerplan.com/calendar so you can see all the upcoming calls and different Zooms and things that are happening all throughout the week, each and every week. Thank you so much, Deidre. Thank you so much, girls. Y'all have a great night. We'll talk to y'all next week.